Yo, what's up YouTube? It's John and Dinger here aboard the USNS Mendonça, finally giving name to the channel, or reason to the name for the channel. We are working on injectors for a Wartsilla V16 running about 5,000 horsepower, 3,500 kW. We're currently setting up brand new Bosch injectors to go into a generator that's just done an overhaul. And Dinger here is going to show you how to set one of these Bosch reman injectors. So we've got our injector test bench here. Set screw for set pressure on the top of the injector. It's only popping at about 100 bar. Dinger's going to give it a couple of turns in. We got to get these things popping at 290 bar, which is about 4,000 psi. Let's see it, let's go. Couple more turns of the set screw. So about 240, 250.
Just a little bit more.
A little bit more. It's about 280. They wanted about 10 bar higher, just to compensate for settling in of the nozzle, new nozzle. Boom. Do it one more time. There we go. Now, guys, these injectors make, hold up there, Dinger. These injectors make a pretty cool noise when you hit them at full stroke. I'm gonna have Dinger give it a good pop there. The injection pumps hit these pretty hard. They make a pretty cool squeal. Let's see if we can get it. There it is. Hit it again. There it is. Perfect. So that's close to the atomization pattern that they're going to have inside the cylinder. They're getting hit hard at each individual mechanical injection pump by the camshaft. And for test bench purposes, it doesn't need to be as violent. They pop, they pop. And this one looks good. Nice job, dude. Alright guys, this is what our Bosch Wartsilla original parts, our Bosch injectors come in. We're gonna, when they come, they don't have a nozzle on them, and they've got the return line with just a standard banjo fitting that is not applicable on this generator. So we pull it out of our package here. This is how they come. No nozzle, wax paper, cap on the injection pipeline, and our banjo fitting. So the first thing we're going to do is take our banjo fitting off, throw that in the pile. We're going to take our return line cap off, set that aside, and as you saw in the next, you'll see in the next segment, Dinger is testing the injectors. I'm going to loosen this plastic cap up a little bit for him, clamp it in the vise here. We have a shaved 22 mil wrench. Gonna loosen the spring housing and adjuster. This is the adjuster housing, lock nut. The adjuster's in the center. This is the only spring in the injector. Sits inside on that detent. Set that aside. Bring it out. Pull out our push rod. Make sure it's not bent or deformed in any way. Take a look inside the body. These are brand new, so they're all clean. We're just making sure that nothing's wrong with them. We're gonna screw this adjuster back in just loose, so there's a little gap. And that push rod needs to set firmly down in there and not be off-center. Take our nozzle nut off the top, flip the wax paper out of the way, grab a brand new Bosch nozzle. So between the spacer, these are designed for injectors that may have water cooling or oil cooling. This one doesn't. This is just fuel. So the optional ports are solid steel. There's nothing there. This surface under the spacer, this top of the spacer, and the bottom of the nozzle, top of the nozzle are all machined. So it's a mechanical seal. I'm going to set the nozzle on top. I'm gonna run my adjuster housing in till it bottoms out, and I can feel the indent in this push rod line up with the nozzle. Let's see if I have a spare one. I don't have a spare one laying around. So this is what is going on inside of there, guys. You've got the needle in the nozzle and the indent in the push rod, and they need to line up. We don't want them offset. We're gonna take our nozzle nut. We've got Wartsilla here working with us, the guys from the factory, and they've assured me that a good and tight philosophy on these injector nozzle nuts is all that's needed. 27mm box end, flip it upside down. We're gonna tighten our adjuster housing, good and tight. We're gonna leave this loose because that's how Dinger's gonna adjust it, and that's it for assembly. This is gonna go to the test bench. All right, guys, we got our injector fresh out of the bench. Dinger's got it popping at a solid 290 bar. For you Americans, which is probably all of you, that's about 4,000 PSI, maybe a little bit more. We're gonna clamp it back in our vise. We're gonna take our return nut removed from earlier, start it down on top, and now our return line that has a washer with a rubber grommet inside of it, our return line fitting, screw that into the top. 22mm box end, give it a good and snug. Again, a machine finish from the adjuster housing to the return line cap. And we're gonna take our 14mm box end and just snug up that fitting. Put a little plastic cap back on for safe handling on the way to the engine. Keep dirt out of these things. And there you go, from a brand new injector to a ready to drop into the engine.